All right, we are going to finish off the colors with green. We'll just go into it. I think multicolor is going to be interesting. That's going to be a longer video. But let's start with grow extra arms. Sorry for the non-Omenpath version, but for one and a green, you get +4/+4 until end of turn, so gigantic growth. But costs only 1 green mana if you control a spider, or target a spider, sorry. So I think in that regard, it's going to be a pretty good combat trick. But again, a combat trick is a combat trick. So nothing too great. And it doesn't get trample. It's not as good as other pump effects have been in prior years. It will win you a combat. Potentially win you the game at the end game, but just memorize 4, 4, 4. So I'm gonna give this a D+. Then we got eccentric eccentric arachnologist, or guy in the chair. That's guy in the chair. This has got a lot of flack, but hey, you know, you got a guy in the chair. What's wrong with that? Team advisor. Here's gonna be your, what's it called? Your and fixing. That's it. Tap to add 1 mana of any color, and you had a 2/3 base, and then for another 3, you put a +1/+1 on target spider, activate as a sorcerer. So we've seen a few of these effects, and they've always been pretty good, especially with the ramp. At 3 mana, it's not as good as your, 1 and a green ramp, but I think this is going to be good, especially because green looks like it has a lot of spiders. You pair it with any other, this is Spiderman. Everything's got spiders. So I think this is going to be very good. I'm going to give this a C+. Then we got Kapow, or Perilous Lunge. Bite spell. Put a +1/+1 counter, and then it fights another target creature opponent controls. So, great removal. And you get the modifier of +1/+4, +1. So, I think this is going to be very good. I'm going to give it a C+. Hindsight, should I get all those black card C pluses? I think so. All right. Then we got Craven's Cats, or Cruel Caracats. Carackles, actually, sorry. 1 and a green for a 2/2 cat villain. This creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn for 2 and a green, meaning next turn when you attack, it becomes a 4/4. So most people are not going to attack. Then it becomes tapped. You can web sling that with mana up. Then you can usually get that attack in for free. I think this card is going to be better than what it looks like. So I'm actually also going to give this. But then in late game, kind of phases out, huh? I'll give this a C. All right, we got Lurking Lizards. 1 and a green. For another villain, trample 1/3. Whenever you cast a spell with mana 4 greater, put a +1/+1 counter. So better than just base +1/+1. You get a counter as well. I think this is going to be a fantastic card. One I'm always going to want to play in a green deck. I'm going to give this a C+. Then we have Favored Fighter, or Professional Wrestler. When it enters for 4 mana, create a treasure token. Fantastic. And then this creature can't be blocked by more than 1 creature. This card is looking very good. You modify it, they have to probably chump block it, and you get ramp. This might actually get into B- territory for me, I think. Just because of how flexible it is, then you always get, a play on turn 5. And then this last part is not insignificant either. Scout the City. 1 and a green for choose 1 sorcery. Look around. Excuse me, mill 3 cards. You may put a permanent card from among them into your hand. Gain 3 life. That's not insignificant. Works very well for, or sorry, not Mayhem, because Mayhem is from your hand. Or destroy target creature flying. So probably going to be using this for the look around effect. but for 2 mana, is it going to be that good? I don't know. I'm going to C minus along with all my other draw card effects. Then we have Spider-Man, Brooklyn Visionary, or Zan, Tunnel Web Explorer. Sorry, I don't have that either here, but for 4 and a green, you get a 4/3 creature with web slinging 2 and a green. When it enters, search for a basic land card, put it into the battlefield tapped, and shuffle. Great for land fixing. At 3 mana, amazing card to play. At 5, not that bad either. So I think this is also gonna be a C plus. Does Fair Fire deserve B minus? Yeah, I think so. Then I think this is also gonna be a B minus for me. Jeez. At common? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm deathly wrong. Who cares? Spider Rex Daring Dino or Chizak Apex Arachnosaur. For 4 and 2 green, I've seen this a lot, you get a 6/6 dinosaur. But this one's a spider. You get a Reach Trample, which is great, and Ward 2. The Ward 2 is not going to be very good. I think this is going to be a solid C+. Moving into the uncommons, we have Selesnya Archivist or Damage Control Crew. 3 and a green for return target creature card or target card with mana value 4 or greater from your graveyard, or exile target fact or enchantments. It's one of the only cards that can exile target artifact or enchantments. And with the ability of also returning a target card of mana 4 or greater, I think this is going to be one of green's best cards. I'm actually going to give this a B with how flexible it is. Ezekiel Sims, Spider Totem, or Oris, Last of the Web Lords for 4 and a green. You get a 3/5 reach creature, so low on rate, but at the beginning of combat on your turn, target spider you control gets +2/+2, meaning this becomes a 5/7. Not terrible, not amazing, but can definitely put in some good work. I'm going to give this a C+. Excuse me. Then we have Pictures of Spider-Man or Ancestral Carvings. 2 in a green for an artifact. When it enters, look at the top 5 cards. You can reveal up to 2 creature cards and put them into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in random order. And then 1 tap, replace itself with a treasure token. Not the worst. At endgame, this is going to be very good, but again, it's still one of those things where it doesn't do much for the board. So I'm going to give it a C minus. But it can get you playables in the endgame, which is important, especially in slower formats that a lot of people are suspecting this format will be. We go into Spider's Man, Heroic Horde, Spider-Man made up of spiders, or Cluster, a spider hero made up of spiders, I guess. For 1 and a green, you get a 2/3, which is better rate. And then Web Slinging 4 and 2 green for gaining 3 life and then creating 2/1 green spiders with reach, which is amazing. So both cards I would want to play. I think this is going to be a solid B minus for me. Then we have Supportive Parents, everything that we want in life, huh? 2 and a green for 3/3, and then tap 2 untapped creatures you control, add 1 mana of any color. So this is not an activated ability, so you can use this right off the bat. You can even tap itself, I think. So that's very good for fixing. But you need a lot of creatures. I'm gonna give this a C+. Terrific Team Up for 3. I love the Bloomborough flavor. 3 and a green for 1 or 2 target creatures you control each get +1/+0, and then they each deal damage equal to their power to target creature and opponent control. So basically removal, and it costs 2 less if you control a permanent with mana value 4 or greater. So imagine 4, even 4 for 2 creatures you control, basically killing a card, and then or 2 mana in late game. This is incredible. and then you can swing in for later. The problem is it's still a punch spell, so that's what makes it worse. But I'm gonna give it a I think for 2 mana this is a B. For 4 mana this is like a C plus. I think I'm gonna give it a B minus. Then we have Wall Crawl or Arouse the Swarm. For 3 and a green, you get 1/2/1 green spider creature token with reach, and you gain 1 life for each spider. So hopefully you have at least a couple. Let's say just one though, right? You get 1 life, 1 green token for 4 mana, and then spiders control get +1/+1 and can't be blocked by creatures with defender. That is great. So you get 3/2. You have a 3/2 automatically. You can gain a life. I think this is actually fantastic. I think this is a solid B. Now let's get to the rares and mythics. We have Craven's Last Hunt or a Trail of Hiccups. Love it. Let's see here. Mill 5 cards for 3 and a green. When you do this, Saga deals damage equal to the greatest power among creature cards in your graveyard to target creature. So punch spell, and in your graveyard. So not the best punch card, but a punch card. Probably not the best to play immediately if there's nothing in your graveyard, but then target creature you control gets +2/+2 until turn, and then return target creature card into your hand. I wish this was just any creature. It has to be a creature in your graveyard. So it's not always, but I think it will do enough damage, so I'm going to give this a B minus. The recursion, at least, if you can get to 3, will give you something, right? But, yeah. With a possible, Alright, then we have Lizard, Connor's Curse for 2, or King of the Cold-Blooded Curse for 2 and 2 green, with a 5/5 Trampler. And then when it enters, up to 1 target creature loses all abilities and becomes a green lizard creature with base power and toughness 4/4. So that also includes your own creatures. You can upgrade one of them or semi-remove an opponent's, but then they have a 4/4. Not nothing, huh? But I think it's still pretty good. I'm going to give this a B because you can just target your own and make a 4/4, right? From your 0/1 or 1/1. I think that's great. Then we have Radioactive Spider or Fate Weaver. 1 for a 1/1 Reach Death Toucher. Sacrifice this creature. Search your library for a Spider Hero card, reveal it, and then shuffle. It's going to be very good. I think green has a lot of spiders. This whole set has a lot of spider heroes. So you play this on turn 1. Later on, you you concentrate your deck and can tutor for a better card. So I think this is actually going to be very good. But the base of it is not fantastic. Give it a B. Next up, we have the Scouring Storm Soul or Sandman, Shifting Scoundrel. For 1 and 2 green, you get a villain that is power toughness equal to the number of lands you control. So at minimum 2 or 3, and then can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. Okay. And then 3 green, return this card and target land card from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. So recurs itself. That's insane. Get this at an A. Because at the end game, it's always just going to recur. And it'll be an 8/8/9/9. I think that's amazing. No, it doesn't. Does it have trample? No, it doesn't have trample. So I think A minus then. Excuse me. And returning to the battlefield tapped also, I think, gives it a little bit less. But you can do it at instant speed. Great. Okay. Now we have Spider Ham, Peter Porker, or Terran Tusk, Unwildly Awoken. For 1 and a green, you get a 2/2 Spider Hero. And it's a boar, not a pig. Huh? Interesting. Create a food token when it enters, and then other smorgasbord of animals. you control get +1/+1. That's gonna be very good in any animal deck. This card is gonna be one worth keeping for a while, I think. Um, and it just makes everything better. Gives you a food token. I think that's A- for me. It's kind of like the one little cute rabbit that gives +1/+1 to other rabbits and stuff that you control. That was hated playing against the card. I was like, oh man. Okay. Now we have Strength of Will for 1 and a green. You get target creature you control gains indestructible, and whenever it's dealt damage, put that many +1/+1 counters. So a combat trick with upside. Upgrade, right? I think that's going to be a B plus. Doesn't do anything immediately right, but it does upgrade your creature for very cheap and wins you the combat. So it's a 1-for-1 most of the time. Sorry, and then upgrade. So I think that's a B plus. You're always going to want it, though, right? You're always going to want it. But again, it doesn't change the board state immediately. Yeah, I think I'll keep it at a B plus. We have Miles Morales, or Kren, Undercity Dreamer. For 1 and a green, you get a 1/2 human citizen hero, and then or basically a 2/3, so better on rate, because you're probably going to put the +1/+1 counter on it, on each of up to 2 target creatures. That's already amazing. And then we turn it over, and it becomes Ultimate Spider-Man, 3 red, green, white, for a first strike haster with 4/3, with presumably a +1/+1 token on it. And then 2, put a +1/+1 counter on it, and he gains hexproof and colorless. And then whenever you attack, double the number of each kind of counter. I think this is the best card that we've seen so far. This is besides maybe even Solstin, but as a creature, I think this is the best creature card that we've seen. A plus for me. That's playable, right? I think the only other card to give an A plus besides Soulstone was Anti-Venom. Did I even give that A plus? But that is actually incredible. A plus, A plus. Good job, A plus. And our last card of the colors, we have Through the Omenpath, or Web of Life and Destiny. For 6 and 2 green, you get a Convoke, meaning that most of the time this is not going to be as expensive as 8. At the beginning of combat, look at the top 5 cards, put a creature card among them onto the battlefield, and then put the rest. I think this is actually going to be much better than some people account for. Turn 4, you have 3-4 creatures out. This already costs half of what it is. You play it, and then it's a game changer and ends the game for you, right? So I think this is an A for me. Even late game, beginning of your turn, you just get a creature immediately if you play it. I think this is actually an A plus. Jeez. All right. Oh, that does it for the colors. The multicolors are interesting because a lot of colors, spoiler alert, like this, you can play actually as a single in green or white or both. So it'll be very interesting to see that. And on to the next.